Previously on Matt Edge's YouTube channel.
Whoa, so close to that tree. Jeez. Oh. Oh. Yo guys, welcome back to another video. Now in today's video we're going to be doing my third product review on this channel, and we're going to be taking a look at a sub £200 lighting setup from Magicshine and seeing if it is suitable for riding downhill trails and hard enduro, just the sort of stuff that I do on my channel, like jumps and just downhill trails. Now, my previous reviews have been rather long, and I'm hoping for this one to condense it down to around 10-15 minutes but still have all the relevant information. This channel is still just only over a year old, so if you wouldn't mind letting me know what you think in the comments below, that would be amazing. But let's get into the review. Let's start by discussing the specs of the lights and what they offer. Then we're going to jump in and do some hands-on approach, and then I'll sum up the performance of the lights at the end. So let's get into the specs. So the lights we will be discussing today are the 4500 lumen MJ906S. This one is a handlebar light, which I think you can also use on your helmet, but for this video this will be my primary light on the handlebars. And then we have the 1000 lumen Allty 1000, which I am using that as my secondary light on the top of my helmet. I have already discussed this light in my previous video reviewing the Montier 8000, and this was also my secondary light there, so I have discussed this in more depth on that video, so we're going to lightly touch on the specs. But if you want some more information about this light, be sure to click the link at the top and it will take you to that video where I discuss this in more depth. So what we'll do is we will start with the MJ906S. This is, as I've said, the light that will be going on my handlebars. It packs 4500 lumens, and mounting to the bars is super easy. All of their lights use a Garmin mount, which is just a quick twist and snap mount. I found that this supplied plastic mount that came with the light didn't actually fit round the 35mm diameter bars that I have on my bike, so I had to use the metal mount that came with the Montier 8000. And then with the battery pack, it mounts via two Velcro straps that go onto the frame. As you'll see from the little clip, I can't mount mine anywhere other than on the top tube, and that is primarily because my suspension design doesn't allow it to be stuck anywhere else. I imagine on different frames, maybe a hardtail, you could have it close to the bottle cage. I've always got on well with just having it on the top tube. Now the mounting for the Allty 1000 is super straightforward. The battery is integrated inside, so all you have to do is put it on charge. When it's done, just clip it in place on top of the helmet. Okay, so my handlebar light, the MJ906S, has a really compact design. It's actually a lot smaller than the Montier 8000, and it has an actual really nice design. It's got the fins on the back for cooling, because these lights get very hot. I found with the Montier 8000 that it was actually so hot to touch that, you know, you wouldn't want to hold your hand on it for any long period of time, and it has a warning on it that says obviously it gets hot. So the 906S is a 4500 lumen light with a lot of different settings. We'll look at that. I'll actually get a clip and put it in of me going through the various settings, because you can choose between the different LEDs, and there's a daytime running light. Now the running duration, there's a claimed 50-hour duration on running light, which, as you'll see from that clip, isn't very bright. That's just for kind of going up the hill. And as you can see from the chart, that runtime is significantly reduced to an hour and a half when running at the full 4500 lumens. Now I found when riding with my Montier 8000 that I only ever used the full beam when I was riding down, which is never very long if you're riding downhill trails in the UK. And of course I found that switching between the different modes, for example the daytime running light and the full beams, I've been on multiple rides and I haven't yet used up a whole battery, so I think it's good to use that like conserving of energy method. The light itself is powered by a 7.2 volt 10,000 milliamp hour battery, and there's not a lot to say about this because to me it's just a battery, and it's quite a hefty, it does add quite a lot of weight to your bike, I found. But what's quite handy about it is it has USB-C, which means it fast charges, but also if you can get a USB-C adapter, you can plug your phone in and charge it. I sometimes use this to charge my GoPro battery, and it also has a really handy battery indicator which just lets you know with 3 green LEDs what balance you have left on the battery. The 906S features IPX6 waterproofing as well, which means it can take heavy showers from any direction, which I imagine would be very, very useful in the UK. So moving on to the helmet light, which is the Allty 1000. This is a 1000 lumen light, as I've already said. It's integrated, it's got a really nice sleek metal design to it. It's quite interesting that they chose not to put USB-C on this one. Perhaps it's something to do with the size of the design, but it would be quite cool to see that, I think. The Allty 1000 has 3 beam modes with a maximum lumen output of 1000 lumen with a 4000 milliamp hour battery with a runtime between 1.8 hours and 28.5 hours. Now this light also uses the Garmin mount, and I've actually used a GoPro mount to make this light fixed to my helmet, and that means when I'm riding it clears my peak and you can angle it so you get a good perspective from the light. So now we've touched on the specs of the lights. I think they're the most important specs of the lights, with the battery life, the beam, the lumens, how it mounts. I think the hands-on section of the video is really important, and it answers the question, can these lights be used for downhill trails? So we're going to go straight to Forest of Dean. It's going to be nice and dark by the time we get there, and we're going to jump straight in. We'll try and go fast and see how the lights fare, because it's so important to just get a hands-on approach and you guys can see how I experience them. So let's go straight to Forest of Dean now. Let's go. Okay then, so here we are. We are at the top of Forest of Dean, right at the roll-in. So we're now running full beam on the 906S. Then we're going to put the Allty 1000, which is on the very top of my helmet, as we would have already discussed. That is on the 1500 lumens. So as you can see, oh, we might need to aim that down a little bit. There we go. So as long as those cables aren't too in the way, we're going to do GBU first, because I just really want to hit some jumps in the dark. This is a super jumpy line, and it was easy with the Montier 8000, so we'll see how we go. Straight to flat. Woo! Big insider there. A little bit silent there just because I'm focusing so hard. Double double. But considering this is 4500 lumen and the Montier is 8000, I'm impressed. Now I seem to be struggling to judge my speed a little bit there. I nosedived and went far on a large percentage of those jumps then. I actually really love being out in the forest. It's so peaceful. Let's go hit the middle section of Ski Run. Try and do this little root gap. Oh my god, just getting barreled. That was so sketch. Oh, I just so nearly ate it then. Okay, that was good. Feels fast. Probably isn't in reality. We're going to do some more tech after that little hit. Let's get some top of sheep skull. Now this is super techy. Just give you a good idea of how wide the beam is. Very nearly went down then. It's really hard because I'm so focused on the trail. Steaming. Literally steaming. Okay guys, so now I've done a couple laps, I figured now would be a really good time to just give a brief overview of what I'm experiencing so far. And I think I'm not going to answer the question of the title just yet, but it's looking very promising. Now obviously coming from a light that is 8000 lumen to a light that is 4500 lumen, the bar has been set quite high, let's say. So when I jump in with these lights, the beam isn't going to be as wide and it's not going to be as bright, and I'm trying to bear that in mind as much as possible, because I imagine whoever's going to buy this maybe doesn't have much experience in night riding or wants to upgrade from a lower lumen light. So I'm kind of doing it backwards to what you would do, which I think is actually good, because I am comparing it to one of the brightest. Seen a handful of people out riding tonight. It's actually really cool that UK has such a good night riding scene, but then you factor in the fact it gets dark at 4 o'clock in the winter. We don't really have much more of an option. Now to end this hands-on section, we're going to hit Sheep Skull. This is my favorite trail, and this was definitely my favorite trail in the daytime, as well as when I was reviewing the 8000S. So it'll be really interesting to see how
this light fares on this trail. Let's get it. The 906S review. Whoa, so close to that tree. Jeez. Oh my god. You know, it's nearly Christmas, right? Oh, that was wild, man. Can you ride downhill trails with these lights? Maybe someone else can. That's too good. Oh, that really hurt. And it's so lucky I didn't hit that. Imagine that. Boom. So the light survived that quick little tree hug I did then, which is always good. That's so funny. I can't believe that. Didn't make the noise there. I always go That was a bit leery, that run. Okay, so the impression so far is really good, but what we're gonna do is get home, get warm, and have a bit more of a discussion about the lights and how they performed and my opinion on them. So let's go get warm. Yo guys, so now we're back from Forest of Dean. How funny was that crash? I can't believe I so narrowly missed that tree and then went and crashed into that small tree. It's so funny. I think we'll discuss whether that was down to the lights or was it down to my own personal error. But before we get into that and before I give my final opinion, I just wanted to really quickly mention that I've got a clothing brand called Descent, and in the last video I dropped my new design. I'm so pleased with it. It'd mean the world to me if you guys could go to the website and check it out and support me. That would be amazing. All the proceeds 100% go to me. There's no cuts to Teespring or any companies like that. It's all me. Go check it out, guys. Let's get back into the review anyway. Now, the reason the video title says that the lights are under £200 is because Magicshine, at the time of making this video, which will be a couple days before it goes live, actually have a sale on at the moment, and the MJ906S is currently 130 down from 150, and the Allty 1000 is £58 down from £64. So even if they weren't on sale, they would still be around £200, 214 when not on sale, and 188 when they're on this sale. And we'll discuss whether I think this is good value once we've discussed how they performed. So the ride went really well, I think, and you could actually tell from the very get-go when I was hitting those jumps at the top of GBU, the very first clip, I was landing flat off the jumps, and I found that because the light didn't have much of a beam spread, I couldn't judge my speed as well, because I couldn't judge how fast the trees were coming past me. Now, as I've already said, I started out with a 8,000 lumen light. To come back and evaluate the two, I think I'm in a really good position to pass a judgment on it. But I definitely found it difficult to judge the speed, and you can tell because I never really landed flat on those jumps on GBU, and there was 3 or 4 of those jumps where I was just landing nose heavy into flat, and that was just because I couldn't judge my speed very well. I think the pair together worked really well. I potentially think that the helmet light is really good. I think 1,000 lumens, I don't know if you necessarily need more than that, because all you're really using the helmet light for is to look where you're going around corners and stuff. And I think 1,000 lumens does that well, but I think potentially for the sort of stuff that I was doing, I met my limits. And as you could see with the crash, now the crash is questionable as to whether that was actually down to the light or whether that was my own stupid fault for riding fast. And I was actually riding as fast as I was in the daytime, and should I have been doing that when I was testing out new lights, because this was the first ride with those lights? Probably not, but I really wanted to give a hands-on jumping approach, because that might be the thing that makes you decide that you want it or you don't want it, because that's a real world experience rather than just saying it's 4,500 lumens. So I think take it with a pinch of salt, because I probably should have been a bit more careful, and maybe once I've adjusted to this light, I'll be better at riding at night and avoid the crashes. But I'm quite lucky it wasn't anything more serious, and luckily if it was, people knew where I was, they knew what trail I was on, so I did take those precautions. But I would definitely say it hasn't put me off using the 4,500 lumen light, so take from that what you will, because I'll definitely go out to FOD and I'll definitely ride the same trail again with the same light. So let's now discuss two things: whether they're worth the value and would I recommend them for doing the sort of riding that I do. So I would definitely say they're worth the value for money, especially with that sale price, because those two, a full set of lights,
to get going. Maybe you're just starting out with night riding, or you're upgrading from some low lumen lights. I think it's a really good stepping stone maybe. And would I suggest them for riding the sort of trails and stuff that I do? I definitely would, because as I've said, I will go back out. I just think that one freak crash, I don't think it should put anyone off, but I've put it in to be realistic that it did happen. I think even at the non-sale price of just over £200 for 2 lights that you can plug in, put on your bike and go, I think that's amazing value for the, it's not just about being able to ride trails fast, it's about the experience. And I've always found that night riding is equally as fun, or if not more so, than riding in the daytime, because it's just a whole another world of riding. So I would 100% recommend them. I think they're really great lights, and I will be continuing to use them in my videos. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As I said, this whole channel is a work in progress. It's only a year old. I would really like to know what you guys think of the videos. If you have any opinions on night riding, have you got any experiences? Have you ever crashed on a night ride? Let me know in the comments below. And if you aren't yet subscribed, consider hitting the subscribe button. Catch you next time, guys. Cheers for tuning in. Shred on.